Alright, with Corey Bender, it's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio. Moving on, we talked about the NBA Finals, we talked about USC and their nonsense, and now we move on to an ex-con. In Plaxico Burress is released from prison the other day. So, he gets out, and it's nice to see him get out of prison, because he went to prison for doing something stupid, shot himself in the leg.
Shot himself.
That was dumb. Shot himself in the leg, didn't have the right license for a gun or whatever, and that's why he went to prison. And then, after that, he gets out, and now he's, as soon as the lockout ends...
An NFL free agent.
He will be an NFL free agent, and he will be able to sign with whom he wishes. Where is he going? How good is he going to be? Corey, I'll let you go for a little bit.
I've been hearing a lot of stuff about mainly the St. Louis Rams, mainly the Eagles, and the Bears. And those are all decent fits in my mind. When I look at this, I'm thinking this is very much a Michael Vick situation, because Michael Vick was in prison for, I guess, the same amount of time. He worked out in prison, but, I mean, he's not going to be in football shape for a while. I mean, he only worked out about 4 days a week, not even probably that long. But the way I look at it is it'll probably take a year, because he's also 34 years old. It'll take a year for getting back into really good football shape. But I think any of those teams could use him pretty much because, excuse me, the Bears' red zone offense, from we heard, was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis needs all the help they can get. And then the Eagles, Michael Vick and Plaxico Burress, that'd be a good combination in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, adding with Deshaun Jackson and Jason Avant, I mean, that's pretty good right there. Mm-hmm. And the way I look at it, it'll take them a while to get used to things, but I think the best fit might be Philadelphia. I mean, sure, people are going to be going, two ex-cons in the same team,
Yeah, they're going to corroborate.
Yeah, they're going to totally, pull some stunt that'll be, fucking him over and back in, prison again. But I think they'll be just fine. Michael Vick's turning his life around. I think he'd be a good role model for him. And, looking back on this, Plaxico Burress was never the fastest guy in the first place.
Right.
He's a big body receiver, got the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl for the Giants, so he knows what he's doing. So I say the Eagles for now, but let's go more in detail with this. What do you think?
Well, Plaxico, right now, out of prison, all he has to do is work out for about 6 weeks, get his legs back under him a bit, and he will be a viable red zone threat, and you can throw one deep ball to him again.
And he can throw in even more weeks of, with this whole lockout situation, too.
Right.
Because, see, that's what they were talking about. The lockout right now is technically in his favor, at least for a little bit, just so he can get back into football shape.
Right, but that's all he's going to be is red zone right now. I mean, out of prison right now, he can run fade routes in the end zone and just get open because he's a big body. He'll have his ball skills for years, even after he's done playing football.
Yeah.
He'll be able to catch. So, all he has to do is jump balls, fade routes, a red zone threat. That's what he needs to be. He's only going to be about the fourth receiver on the depth chart. You're not asking him to win games for you often.
Yeah.
Except for, jump balls in the end zone, things like that. So this year, that's all he's going to be. The year after that, could he go back to being a Pro Bowl player?
Being 35, I don't know.
I don't know about that. But, again, 35 in a 33-year-old's body, really. Because he's had 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years off from football.
Yeah.
Hasn't been working out much, hasn't been doing much, hasn't been taking the hits that other receivers take in that time span. And he did really miss the very end of his prime of his career by going to prison. That's unfortunate, but he was in prison. So that happens. Anyway, the teams, what were the teams you mentioned?
The Rams, Eagles, Bears.
Okay.
And I think there was one more you had said.
Rams, Eagles, the other ones I mentioned. Rams, Eagles, Bears, Seahawks is what I hear. Eagles is really not based on anything other than Mike Vick has expressed he wants Plaxico to come to Philadelphia. I don't know about cap room. I don't know about what Andy Reid wants to do.
I'm pretty sure cap room will be fine. I mean, it's not like they're going to give him that big of a money contract.
I mean, the deal Vic got was 2 years, $8 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing huge. So I would see Plax probably wouldn't even get that. He'd probably get
maybe $6 million.
2 years, $4 million, something like that. To make enough money, and enough money to support his 4 houses or whatever he has. He was one of these guys that does ridiculous things, dumb things with your money. Has them in a bunch of different places, a bunch of different homes, cars, stuff like that. So really kind of irresponsible with your money. So to be that irresponsible, you need to make some money. So I think they'll give him his contract, and The
if
Eagles.
Football.
Yeah, the Eagles is based on Vic. The Rams is based on Sam Bradford needs a big target to throw to. And I think that would just be interesting to see.
A lot of his former teammates too are saying that he'd be a good fit with Mike Mars.
Yeah, he would. He would be a very good fit because Mike Martz loves those big guys. Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, they were phenomenal. Greatest show on earth. Turf. They called themselves the greatest show on earth right at the end of that before Kurt Warner left. Mike Martz isn't even in St. Louis.
Really?
He's in Chicago.
He is in Chicago, but
that's
more Chicago.
That's why he'd be good with the Bears. Yeah. He'd be good with the Rams because Sam Bradford is a young, talented quarterback that likes to throw the ball around a little bit. Threw the ball 55 times in his NFL debut, which is wicked.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It was against the Cardinals, though, so it almost doesn't count. It was like a minor league start. They lost the game, but it's still a minor league start because it's the Cardinals, okay? So he'd be good. I don't know why he'd be good in Seattle. I've just heard Mike Williams, who's a receiver in Seattle, said he really wants Plaxico there. So there's interest there, so that's a place he could go.
Yeah.
And Chicago makes all the sense in the world because Jay Cutler, the last time he had a big physical receiver that could catch anything, he was a Pro Bowler. When he had Brandon Marshall, that was when we were talking about him as can he take the next step to be an elite quarterback. Yeah. And now we're saying about Jay Cutler, can he take the next step to be a back where he used to be as an NFL quarterback. I actually think diabetes has really affected his play. I think that's why. It's not because, it's partly because his offensive line sucks and he has no receivers.
Partly because he had a torn MCL also.
Right, but I think because of his diabetes is why he hasn't played as well in Chicago.
Maybe.
Is because he was diagnosed with diabetes in that time before the 2009 season started. And I think that's what's really affected him much more so than not being in Denver or not having Brandon Marshall or whatever. But having a big physical receiver for Cutler to go to, I think would be awesome. And so that's really that as far as where he could go. The question is, his personality really came into question before he went to prison because he was skipping meetings, he was saying stupid things in the media, he was suspended a game for not showing up on time or leaving early or something. Like he's been immature, irresponsible. He's been a massive diva. I mean, he has been an absolute mess in the locker room.
Yeah.
Can he correct that now that he's out of prison? Maybe a little more humble is something to look at. As we go forward. Would you want Plaxico on your team?
Yeah, not for a lot of money, but of course we're not going to do that. But I'll take him on my. God, can't talk right now.
I would take him on my team. I would take him on my team because Cory is choking to death.
I'll take him on my team.
Okay, why?
I mean, he's a big body receiver. I mean, why wouldn't you want a guy in the red zone? I mean, sure, you're going to have your little, fast, speedy guys on your team, hence like Deshaun Jackson or your Devin Hester, but you want that other guy that'll attract a lot of attention and a big guy. They're going, that guy's 6'5". We better cover him.
Yeah, jump balls. I think you're going to have him running a lot of fade routes. You're going to see a lot of jump balls with him. As I said, all you're going to have him do, you're going to have him targeted twice a game. As we start out, that's all it's going to be the first few months of the season. It's just going to be one jump ball in the end zone and one deep ball if his legs are up to it. So Plaxico, he's going to be a weapon, but he's not going to be an important piece of a championship team. He's not going to be the best receiver on a championship team, a la Larry Fitzgerald or Greg Jennings. So because he's nowhere, he was on that level before he left, but he's not on that level now. But I think Plaxico, I think he's also too old to get back there. I think the portion of his career that he was an elite player, I think is completely done. But can he be a serviceable NFL receiver that can make a couple big catches a game?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But he went to prison at the absolute wrong time because he just missed out on the very end of the prime of his career. And it's a shame because he really was a great player for a really long time. But that part is done now. And where he's going to go, what is he going to do? I think he has the want to because he's been in prison, so he wants to not be in prison.
Yeah.
And I think he has the drive. I think his work ethic is going to be improved. I think a lot of the things that Michael Vick is now, I think Plaxico is going to be.
Yeah.
Mike Vick had an unbelievable turnaround, obviously.
Because he was a complete asshole before he went to prison.
Yeah, he was. Vick, and it's the same thing with Plaxico. How is Plaxico going to be now? Because we don't know that. And
we'll find out soon.
Yeah. So anyway,
Or at
that's
least
that.
we hope.
That's that. I just forgot I wanted to play this. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. So that was good. Get one of those out. We might be back around tomorrow to do a little NBA
Recap
finals.
those, NBA finals going
NBA
on.
finals. I think the game tonight's going to be phenomenal.
It will.
You're going to see a great game tonight. You're going to see a great game tonight. I hope something happens. I like having these controversies come about because we get to actually have a show. And when we said the Lance Armstrong thing was going to be the controversy of the summer,
well,
it's
that's
going to
what
be Jim
you
Tressel.
said.
Yeah, Jim Tressel is going to be what gets us through this summer and hopefully up to some football.
Maybe even Plaxico Burress a little bit.
Maybe, but you can't talk about that every day. Like, we really hit it one time, and until he gets signed, we can't hit it again. So, but I think Jim Tressel, something else came out today about Jim Tressel that when I get a little more information, maybe we'll revisit that tomorrow.
Yep.
A lot of good stuff. All right, Corey, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
All right. Good stuff. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio.